What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to the Versus series. With this series, we take two different items that are somewhat comparable from CoD WW2, and we put them up against each other to see which one's better. In today's episode, this is something that's been getting asked a lot since the MP-40 got a buff to its recoil. Which is the better SMG now, the PPSH-41 or the MP-40? So let's hop right into the stats here. First up, we have damage and shots to kill. The PPSH-41 is going to take 4, 5, or 6 shots to kill, depending on the range, whereas the MP-40 has a very short 3-shot kill range, then it's also going to be 4, 5, or 6 shots to kill as the ranges go on. Our rate of fire on the PPSH is 722 rounds per minute, and the MP-40 did get a stealth nerf in the last update. It used to be 722 rounds per minute as well, but now it's cut down to 690 rounds per minute. Our statistical minimum time to kill for the PPSH is going to be 249 milliseconds in the 4-shot kill range, 332 in the 5-shot kill range, and 416 in the 6-shot kill range. The MP-40 has that very short 3-shot kill range, and within that range, it's got an insanely fast time to kill at 174 milliseconds. Then in the 4-shot kill range, it's 261, 348 in the 5-shot kill range, and finally in the 6-shot kill range, it's 435 milliseconds. Now these numbers don't mean a whole lot if we don't have a look at the ranges, so let's compare the ranges of the PPSH and the MP-40. As you can see, the MP-40 does have that extremely short, like point-blank 3-shot kill range, which can be helpful if you happen to run into somebody while going through a doorway or something, and you're basically touching your enemy. This is an excellent bonus of using the MP-40. Aside from that though, within the standard 4-shot kill range of the MP-40, for most of that range, the PPSH does have a faster time to kill at 249 milliseconds, but you'll notice that all of the ranges of the MP-40, so the 4-shot kill range and the 5-shot kill range, they both extend noticeably further than the PPSH's 4 and 5-shot kill range, and therefore that is one of the upsides to using the MP-40 over the PPSH. You have a little bit more reach. As for recoil, with the PPSH, our recoil is very vertical. It kind of sways a little bit side to side, kind of zigzags as it goes vertical, but it's never going to go strong to the left or to the right or anything like that. With the MP-40 on the other hand, this did just recently get a buff to its recoil, and it is much better than it was before. It does kick mainly vertical, but every once in a while it's going to pull to the right, and sometimes it's relatively strong to the right. It's enough to throw you off target, and this is one of the downsides of using the MP-40. It's not quite as consistent or as reliable as the PPSH when it comes to recoil. Moving on to a few more stats that I feel are important and also different between these two SMGs. First up, we have aim down sight and sprint out times. The aim down sight and sprint out time for the PPSH-41 is 175 milliseconds, whereas the MP-40 falls in the slightly slower group of SMGs at 200 milliseconds for both of these values. This value is quite important because if a PPSH user and an MP-40 user are sprinting at each other and they run into each other at the same time and react at the same time, the PPSH user is always going to hit the first shot in that gunfight. As for our magazine capacity, they're very similar, but they are a little bit different, so I thought I'd throw that in here. The PPSH has a 35-round magazine with 105 rounds in reserve, and the MP-40 has a slightly smaller magazine at 32 rounds with 96 rounds in reserve. And finally, for our reload add time, this is the amount of time it takes to reload without any sort of unnecessary animations. This is when you're using reload canceling. The PPSH has a reload time of 1.5 seconds, whereas the MP-40 is noticeably faster at 1.27 seconds. Aside from that, any other important stat between these two guns is going to be identical, so like hipfire spread, movement speed, idle sway amount, these are all exactly the same between these two guns, so we have covered all of the stats that are important and different between the two. Overall, my thoughts on this after looking at all of the stats of these two weapons is they're both top tier SMGs currently. However, if we are putting these up against each other, and let's just assume the players are of equal skill level, I feel the PPSH is a more consistent gun to use, and I think this is why we're seeing the PPSH used more often than not in a competitive environment. The MP-40 just doesn't have that same consistency yet. There are so many little things where the PPSH is gaining the edge. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the recoil is actually predictable and consistent with the PPSH, whereas with the MP-40, even after that buff it got, sometimes it just throws you off target and there's nothing you can really do to predict that. It just kind of happens randomly. In addition to that, of course, the PPSH does have faster handling attributes, so aim down sight and sprint out time, and this is just another one of those things that gives it a slight edge over the MP-40. Like I said though, that's not to say that the MP-40 is a bad gun, not by any means. It is an excellent SMG and I would highly encourage you guys to use it in public matches, but if you are looking at competitive play, I don't think the MP-40 really keeps up. But of course, this is just my opinion based on the numbers. I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think? Which is better, the PPSH-41 or the MP-40? Before we wrap this up, I'd also like to know in the comment section below, what other weapons or even pieces of equipment would you like me to compare for this Versus series? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.